the Dalai Lama. Still reading this. We're on page 61. And we're talking about cause and effect. And specifically, cause and effect in the mind. When we recognise how our thoughts have particular effects on our physiological states, we can prepare ourselves for them. We will then know that when one state of mind arises, we must counter it in a particular way. And if another occurs, we must act appropriately. When we see our mind drifting towards angry thoughts of someone we dislike, we must catch ourselves. We must change our mind by changing the subject. This is not to be mixed up with knowing someone's dodgy, because I think another misconception can happen. You start to see the delusions that arise in your mind. So you think, oh, I'm motivated at the moment by fear, or you start really noticing why you act in a certain way. But it still takes a while. So if someone comes up to you with anger, it still takes a while for us to be able to work out what their anger is motivated by. Or just remember that because they're angry, they're in a more disabled situation. So feeling your own feelings towards someone because they get up your nose or you're jealous or whatever is one thing. But if an arsehole's in your life and you've got every reason to notice that they're being a twat, you can still, what you're supposed to do is recognise them for their bad qualities, for want of a better word, know them for who they are, and then treat them accordingly, meaning don't have them in your life necessarily, or keep them in your life, keep that to a minimum, and prepare yourself, so you know, like if you go to see them, they're going to ask you for money or whatever, and you can choose what response you have to them. But I think the point here is you can get to the point where you choose to respond with love and compassion. I think what I'm trying to say is love and compassion doesn't mean always give that person a tenner. And this is where things can get a bit confusing in Buddhism, because you think, oh, I'm going to be all lovely all the time. I'm going to be peaceful and lovely. And I'll be all floaty and it's going to be very om. And then the reality is you have to remain grounded and be normal. And if a twat comes into your life, you need to think this person's an absolute plonker. I don't want nothing to do with them. And then if your sort of reality throws up an opportunity for you to point it out that you don't agree, or that you... because you have to be able to stand in your integrity, right? You can't just go along with whatever appears in front of you. Sometimes you are in a position where you have to sort of stand your ground and say, with all love and all respect in my mind towards you, with all due, respect, no, you're an arse. Very difficult. So we must catch ourselves. We must bring to mind our mind. We must change our mind by changing the subject. It is difficult to hold back from anger when provoked unless we have trained our mind to first recollect the unpleasant effects, such as... I get confused. It's because this is important to me. I'm trying to work it out as I talk, like in relation to my own feelings, so then I get lost in the words, and I'm sorry about that. It is difficult to hold back from anger when provoked unless we have trained our mind to first recollect the unpleasant effects such thoughts will cause us. See, the thing with anger is it does feel like, at the time, justified, but, like with anger is telling you you are really unhappy with the situation. Anger is telling you you aren't coping. There's something about this situation that's doing you in, that's making you uncontrolled. So then you obviously have to go and find your trigger. Why is it triggering you? But simultaneously, you need to look around you and see what damage you cause by uncontrolled anger. Uncontrolled is really important. There are times where you need to be wrathful, they call it, right? Where you can consciously and calmly choose to sound mega fucked off with somebody. But you don't have to do it in an uncontrolled way. You have to just go blind rage and start doing a Goliath all around the house. you can say, you can appear to lose your temper, but actually you've got a peaceful mind. But the thing is, we were talking about this last night, me and Dan. The thing is, if you choose to act in a wrathful way or an angry way, the effects and ramifications on you are huge, because then you have to constantly work through it afterwards. So if you are like a worrier, you'd be like, oh my god, I lost my temper, what do they think, blah blah blah, what effects is that going to have, la la la. And then the effects on you will have ramifications positive, sometimes for years. So if you can work out how to be like a mind ninja, you can deal with all, you know, difficult situations in a calm way, resolve them quickly, and then you can just literally like just put them in the bank and forget about them. So powerful emotions like that stay in your memory, uncontrolled powerful emotions that stay, you relive and you relive and you relive, and sometimes that can be unsettling. So again, in the long haul, if you want to be a meditator, you don't want to be sitting down on your cushion and then, oh, I can't meditate because I'm remembering when I was 21 and I kicked someone in the balls. Training my physical and present effects through causes. It is therefore essential that we begin our training in patience, calmly, not while experiencing anger. It is therefore essential that we begin our training in patience, not while experiencing anger. We must recall in detail how, when angry, we lose our peace of mind, how we are unable to concentrate on our own work, how unpleasant we become to those around us. It is by thinking long and hard in this manner that we eventually become able to refrain from anger. Really important point is, refraining from anger. Okay, so you're in a situation, someone's a dick, your reaction is to become angry. We all know that then eats your brain, your life. Brexit can take over your life, right? Boris can take over your life. Donald Trump can take over your life. And it can just consume you. What we need to be able to do is not lose our awareness and our triggers, so we can see that this is not okay, but we don't have to become consumed by it. We still need to be motivated to do something maybe, or when we can, or speak up or whatever, but we don't have to be angry about it. Yes, hello, have you come to help again? Thank you for your help. Yes, thank you. One renowned Tibetan hermit limited his practice to watching his mind. He drew a black mark on the wall of his room whenever he had an unvirtuous thought. Initially, his walls were all black. However, as he became more mindful, his thoughts became more virtuous, and white marks began to replace the black ones. We must apply similar mindfulness in our daily lives. Me and Dan were talking about this. There's another one about, there was a guy, and he, every time he had a bad thought, he put a black stone somewhere, and every time he had a white thought, he put a white stone. But what you can't mix this up with is sin, right? So his white thoughts were things of like caring for others, probably even a neutral mind. His black thoughts will be, he felt angry towards someone, he felt, confusion, laziness. It will be all of that stuff. It won't be like, oh, well, it could have been like lusty thoughts or something. But the point is, they're not, Christians' sinful thoughts. The virtue is not a sinful thing. Virtue is a mind that moves you towards a peaceful, calm experience in the world, makes it easier to meditate, to be a good person who's not knocked off course by our mind all the time. Okay, that's enough of that. So I'm talking to